Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, I have a story for you that still sends a shiver down my spine whenever I think about it. This isn't something I read in a book or heard from a friend of a friend. This happened to me. It's a story about a dark road, a forgotten tragedy, and an encounter that I can't explain to this day. So turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let me take you back to one of the most unsettling nights of my life. It all started on what felt like a completely ordinary evening. The day was winding down, and my husband and I were settling in for the night. Suddenly, the phone rang, shattering the peace. It was a call from my village, and the news was grim. My uncle was very, very sick. The tone in my cousin's voice told me this wasn't just a minor illness. It was serious. We had to go, and we had to go now. Without a second thought, my husband and I decided we would visit him that very night. In our culture, you never visit the sick or the elderly empty-handed. It's a sign of respect and care. So I quickly went to the kitchen and grabbed a box of sweets we had at home. It felt like the right thing to bring, a small token of sweetness in a bitter situation. By the time we were ready to leave, the world outside had completely transformed. The sun had long since dipped below the horizon, and a deep, inky darkness had swallowed the sky. We lived in a rural area, and nights there are a different kind of dark. The roads were utterly deserted. There wasn't a single soul walking, not even a stray dog roaming about. The air itself felt heavy, lifeless, and wrapped in an eerie, profound silence. It was the kind of quiet that makes you feel like you were the only two people left in the world. Our only mode of transport was our bicycle. My husband pedaled, and I sat on the back, holding the box of sweets tightly in my hand. We moved slowly, the single beam from our bicycle's small lamp cutting a pathetic little tunnel through the oppressive darkness of the village road. Every creak of the chain, every crunch of the tires on the gravel seemed amplified in the stillness. The familiar path suddenly felt alien and menacing. We continued like this for a while, the silence broken only by our own sounds. Then we approached the old bridge. This bridge was a landmark in our village, a structure that had stood for decades. It was made of old stone and wood, and it arched over a slow-moving stream. It was always a bit spooky to cross at night, but this time felt different. As we reached the middle of the bridge, a sudden, jarring thought hit me. My hands were empty. The box of sweets, it was gone. I let out a little gasp, and my husband immediately stopped. "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice sounding loud in the quiet. "The sweets," I said, my heart starting to beat a little faster. "The box is gone. I must have dropped it." It was the only logical explanation. I had been holding it, and now I wasn't. We had to find it. We couldn't show up to my uncle's house with nothing. So we turned the bicycle around and began to retrace our path. We went slowly, shining the weak lamp onto the dusty road, searching for the glint of the box. We searched and searched, walking back and forth, our eyes straining in the gloom. But there was nothing. It was as if it had vanished into thin air. How could a whole box of sweets just disappear on an empty road? Frustration and a growing sense of unease began to creep in. We were standing near the edge of the bridge, about to give up, when my eyes were drawn to the darkness below. Under the arch of the bridge, where the shadows were deepest, I saw something, a flicker of movement, a shape that wasn't just a shadow. It was a darker patch of black against the blackness, a presence. And at that exact moment, a cold, horrifying realization washed over me. It felt like a bucket of ice water had been poured down my back. I didn't lose the sweets. They weren't dropped, they were taken. My breath caught in my throat. I stood frozen, staring at that indistinct shadow under the bridge. And then, like a floodgate opening in my mind, a forgotten story, a piece of village folklore I hadn't thought about in years, came rushing back. The story of the family who used to live in a small hut right next to this very bridge. Years and years ago, A family with several sons lived there. One of the sons was named Khepu. The story goes that there was a bitter dispute among the brothers, a fight over land and money, the oldest and ugliest of reasons for betrayal. The greed was so intense that one fateful night, his own brothers committed the most unspeakable act. They ambushed Khepu right here, under this bridge. They cut his throat, and to hide their crime, they threw his body into the dark water below. It was a brutal, cold-blooded murder, brother against brother. This happened way back in 1988. Since that time, the story has been passed down in hushed whispers among the villagers. They say Khepu never left. His restless, betrayed spirit is still here, forever trapped under the bridge where his life was so cruelly taken. The elders always warned us, be careful when you cross the old bridge at night. They said Khepu's spirit lingers, watching, waiting. And here's the part that made my blood run cold. They said he calls out to travelers, especially those who pass by with offerings. He has a particular fondness for sweets. The story says his spirit will reach out from the shadows and take any offerings, any sweets that pass over his final watery resting place. Standing there on that dark bridge, the empty space in my hands where the box of sweets had been, staring at the shadow below, the folklore didn't feel like folklore anymore. It felt like reality. The empty road, the suffocating silence, the missing sweets, it all clicked into place in the most terrifying way. We hadn't just dropped a box. We had unknowingly made an offering to a restless soul. I grabbed my husband's arm, my hand trembling. "We have to go," I whispered, my voice shaking. Now, he didn't understand at first, but he saw the pure terror in my eyes. He didn't ask questions. We got back on the bicycle and pedaled away as fast as we could, not daring to look back. The silence of the night no longer felt empty. It felt like it was watching us. We never found the box of sweets. We never went back to look. To this day, whenever I have to cross that bridge, even in broad daylight, I feel a chill. I think about Khepu, murdered by his own blood, forever bound to that dark, damp place. And I think about my box of sweets, taken by a shadow under a bridge on a desolate night. Was it just a strange coincidence? Did I really just drop it in a way that it was impossible to find? Or did we have a genuine encounter with the tragic spirit of Khepu? I'll let you decide. Thank you so much for listening to my story tonight. If you have any similar experiences, I would love to read about them in the comments below. It helps to know we're not alone in these strange encounters. Don't forget to like this video if you found it intriguing, and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.